Sorry, Fran, can you just give me 1 second? I just have to live stream this.
Okay.
Okay, we're good to go, Fran.
Okay, we're going to start this meeting, and I have a motion moved by Jerry, seconded by Judy, that we accept the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Yes.
Motion's carried. Is there any disclosure, pecuniary interest, or general nature thereof from any member of the committee in this meeting today? Hearing none, we'll note that in the minutes, and we'll go forward. The process we're going to take is we have 7 applications and we need to pick 5. So what we'll do is I'll say a name and we'll vote on each of those. But before we start, is there any discussion on the process?
Yes, I had seen that on our call for people and that on the original website that it was dated for 2019, but I've been assured that we've advertised somehow socially for people in that. But one of the disclaimers on our website indicated if they don't complete the form properly, it will be rejected. And if that's the case, I noted that Dave Hallett did not indicate whether he's a Canadian citizen over 18, eligible, elector, or anything else. So I'm just wondering if that automatically eliminates him.
Kelly or Jeanette?
I'm going to say that's the committee's call. I know this one was a little bit different because we did waive the the committee appointment bylaw on this to allow others who were not eligible electors to be chosen on this because we were going for expertise. So council did waive that committee application bylaw. So you didn't need to be an elector.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you need to still be a Canadian citizen and over 18, et cetera, and he didn't fill any of that out.
Okay, well, possibly, and unless people have chosen him, it may not be an issue.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
It says we need to pick 5. We have 7 applicants. Do we need to pick 5 if we only figure that there's 3 or 4 that are worthwhile being selected?
We have to have 5 for the committee, is my understanding.
Can I just jump in for a second, Deputy Warden, Madam Chair?
Yes.
We set the number at 5 thinking that would be difficult to achieve, and that's what the bylaw currently says. Subject to Madam Clerk clarifying how it could happen, and given that we're looking for people with specific expertise, if we choose 6 or 7, I think we could probably amend the bylaw again prior to confirming them. I'm just concerned that, if we stick with 5, we may be missing out on some skills, and I haven't looked in detail. So
Yeah, I'm more on Councillor Lichty's position that for qualifications and that there were a few that jumped out as being well qualified in that, and some that just weren't, and incomplete resumes at best from many in that. So there's no ability to screen what their track record has been or who they have worked for in that to make sure that they aren't compromised either. So I agree with taking our time to make sure that we actually get the right people onto this rather than expand the group, and that it may be that there's only a few that really are in this pool that should be on this technical committee.
I don't know. I had no trouble finding 5. And again, this is a volunteer job. It's not a paid position. And we at first didn't think we'd even get 5 people. So I think the fact that we've got 7 speaks volumes. And I think there's a lot of qualifications in the groups that I was reading.
Some of them very well qualified, yeah.
Yes, yes.
And some
Ron,
with hope.
Ron, do you still have a question?
Yes, I have no issue with finding 5 names to put on that committee, and I think that's where we should just go with for now. If we don't get 5 and we can't agree on 5, then we can revisit.
Yeah. That's, I think, a good way to do it. Okay. Jeanette, who was our first one? I don't have the list in front of us. In
So
front of-
if I could maybe make just one slight suggestion, what we have done in the past is that we've gone through each counselor. So for example, you would ask Counselor Lichty, who are your 5? And we would mark them down, and then who are each member's 5s. And then at the end, we would see if there's a one, the 5 that stand out. And if not, then we would eliminate the lowest of votes and then redo it. Does that make it easier?
I think
Or
so.
would you prefer to go through each one and then say yes, no? Because you could end up at the end with some people voting for all 7.
Right.
I'm fine with asking each person to give their 5.
I'm
Okay.
good with that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let's start. Who wants to start? Jerry, do you want to give us your 5?
Sure. I have a Roy Hoodle, Stephen Keeley, Jim McIntosh, Phil Tibble, and Kelsey Jarrett.
Okay. And Ron.
I have Jim McIntosh, Dan Holton, Phil Tibble, Stephen Keeley, and Roy Hewitt.
Hoodle.
Hoodle,
Okay.
sorry.
It's
All
just
right.
like pronouncing Lichty, Ron. You'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
Only in the north, right?
Yeah.
Judy, who have you got?
Kelsey Durrett, Roy Hoodle, Stephen Keeley, Jim McIntosh, and Phil Tibble. Same as what Jerry had, actually.
Okay. And mine are Phil.
Could we
Tibble.
just,
Oh,
Fran,
sorry.
sorry, could we just slow down for 1 second? Judy, can you just rename yours, please? It was Kelsey Garrett.
Kelsey Durrett, Roy Hutel,
Yep,
Stephen Keeley,
yes,
Jim McIntosh,
yes.
Phil Tibble.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Mine are Phil Tibble, Jim McIntosh, Steve Keeley, Roy Hoodle, and Dan Hulton.
Currently, we have 1, 2, 3, 2. So what I have right now would be, Kelsey Garrett has 2 votes. Roy Hoodle has 4. Dan Halton has 2. Stephen Keeley has 4. Jim McIntosh has 4. And Phil Tibble has 4. So it would appear that Roy Hoodle, Stephen Keeley, Jim McIntosh, and Phil Tibble would be your, would be your choice. And then you have a tie between Kelsey Garrett and Dan Halton. Each with
Okay.
2 votes. So you would need to now vote for Kelsey and Dan.
Should we have a discussion as to the merits of each one? Or no?
Well, I think we could have a brief discussion. I'll let you know why I picked Dan, and that was because he was from the islands, and I think, Judy, you would want someone from the islands.
Well, we have representation from the township and that with Mike Jablonski going to be on the administrative aspect. So I'm looking at it from a technical perspective, and 20 years working water and sewer in Kingston versus Kelsey, and that just had frankly a more impressive resume to me. And that, so we do have representation from the island on the other aspect of this. But
Okay, Ron?
yeah.
And then
I picked Dan Holton because at the end of the day, the city of Kingston could be our provider. And he has that experience and working relationship with the city of Kingston. I did not pick Kelsey because I do not think that somebody from the city of Kingston needs to be involved as Cataraqui conservation person either. So I'm not comfortable with that one.
Okay, Jerry,
Okay, so my issue is, I actually picked 4 and I didn't pick Kelsey or Dan, but I thought Kelsey's resume was something that I've seen many times before. I don't know how much experience is there. But she may bring something. I assume this is, I don't know if it's a female or a male, because it can go either way. But I assume the individual is younger and might bring a different perspective. And I hadn't thought about Ron's point about Dan, but when I looked at his resume, I didn't see anything there that was going to say he should be on this particular committee. That's
okay,
the
and
reason I chose Kelsey.
okay. And I'll tell you why I chose Dan. And again, it was very similar to Ron in the fact that he did work 20 years for Kingston. And they may at some point end up being a provider of the actual service. So that bringing that skill might be very important to us down the road.
Okay, I have one more response.
Okay,
The
go ahead.
4 of the 4 individuals we selected in the first round here, you and I, Fran, live very close to one another.
Yes,
3 of them live within 25 or 30 kilometers of each other, and us. So out of the 4 on the admin committee and 5 on the tech committee, it's 9. We've got like 5 of them in North Frontenac, in the northern part of Central Frontenac. So you really need somebody from the south. So I can switch and go with Dan.
okay. All right,
Simply an optics thing.
true. How do people feel about that? Are we prepared to pick Dan instead of Kelsey?
Well, I am, because I picked it the first time, so I
Right.
I really can't argue to change my mind then.
Okay, I guess Judy?
Still think the other one has a more impressive resume than that. But, majority wins, so don't worry
True.
with that.
Yes, okay. All right, so Jeanette, do we need to re-vote on Dan or is it?
So if we can just revote on the 2 of them, if we could just go around the table again and each one give their option of either Kelsey or Dan, and one of them will come out on top.
Okay, Jerry,
Dan Holton.
Ron,
Dan Holton.
Judy,
Kelsey Durrett,
okay, Fran, Dan.
there you go.
Okay, so
Okay.
we have our 5. Do we need a motion, Jeanette?
Yes, the resolution will just be that Roy Hootle, Dan Halton, Stephen Keeley, Jim McIntosh, and Phil Tibble be appointed to the Communal Services Technical Advisory Committee. And we just need a mover and a seconder for that.
Okay,
I will move.
moved
I
by
will
Ron,
second.
seconded by Jerry. All those in favor?
I,
I
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried.
And then we just need a motion to adjourn.
Okay, moved by Judy, seconded by Jerry, that we adjourn this meeting at 9:18 and time for me to get to my next one. All those in favor?
In
I.
favor.
care. Yeah, I sorry.
Okay, see everybody on Wednesday.
All right, thanks, everyone.
So long, folks.
Thank you
Yep,
very
bye.
much. Bye-bye.